Hello, everyone. And today, I want to talk to you about something that affects millions of people over 60. Saggy, loose skin that makes you feel older than you really are. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've probably tried everything from expensive creams to exhausting Pilates routines, spending hours at the gym trying to tighten that stubborn skin around your neck, jawline, arms, and abdomen. But what if I told you that there are two incredibly simple moves that can dramatically improve your skin's firmness, and you can do them right from the comfort of your own home in just minutes a day? Let me explain the science behind why this works and how you can start seeing results almost immediately. First, let's understand what's really happening with your skin at 62. As we age, our bodies produce less collagen and elastin. These are the two crucial proteins that keep our skin firm, plump, and youthful. By the time we reach our 60s, we've lost approximately 40 to 50% of our collagen production compared to when we were in our 20s. Add to that the effects of gravity, sun damage accumulated over decades, hormonal changes, especially after menopause, and the natural thinning of the fat layer beneath our skin, and you've got the perfect storm for sagging skin. But here's what most people don't know. While Pilates and traditional exercise can certainly help with overall fitness and muscle tone, they don't specifically target the facial muscles and the lymphatic system in the way that these two moves do, which is why people spend months doing conventional exercises without seeing significant improvements in their skin tightness. The biological processes that lead to skin sagging are actually quite complex and fascinating when you look at them from a medical perspective. You see, your skin is composed of three main layers: the epidermis on the outside, the dermis in the middle where all the collagen and elastin fibers live, and the hypodermis, or subcutaneous layer underneath, which is primarily fat tissue. As we age, changes occur in all three layers simultaneously. The epidermis becomes thinner and more fragile. The dermis loses its structural proteins and becomes less elastic, and the hypodermis loses volume as fat redistributes or diminishes. Additionally, the muscles underneath all these layers begin to lose mass and tone through a process called sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle tissue. When these muscles weaken, they can no longer provide adequate support for the skin above them, leading to that characteristic sagging appearance. What makes this even more challenging is that facial muscles are unique. Unlike the muscles in your body that attach bone to bone, facial muscles attach directly to the skin, which means when they weaken, the skin literally droops with them. Now, the first move I want to teach you is what I call the facial resistance lift, and it's based on decades of research in facial exercise physiology and lymphatic drainage. Here's how it works. Your face contains over 40 different muscles, and just like the muscles in your body, when you don't use them, they atrophy and weaken. When facial muscles weaken, the skin that's attached to them begins to droop and sag. But when you engage these muscles with proper resistance and technique, you can rebuild that muscular foundation and create a natural lifting effect from within. To perform this move, you're going to place your fingertips on your cheekbones, applying gentle but firm pressure. And then, you're going to smile as wide as you possibly can while simultaneously pushing against that resistance with your cheek muscles. Hold this position for 10 seconds, feeling the burn in your mid-face area, then release slowly. The key here is the resistance. Without it, you're just making facial expressions, but with it, you're actually building muscle fibers that will support and lift your skin. You're going to repeat this 15 times, and I want you to really focus on the muscle contraction, feeling your cheeks pushing up against your fingers. What's happening at a cellular level is absolutely fascinating. When you create this resistance, you're increasing blood flow to the facial tissues, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to the skin cells, stimulating fibroblasts, which are the cells responsible for producing new collagen and elastin. And you're also activating the lymphatic system, which helps drain excess fluid and toxins that can make your face look puffy and aged. Let me go deeper into why the resistance component is so critical to this exercise. In exercise physiology, we talk about something called progressive overload. This is the principle that muscles need to be challenged beyond their current capacity in order to grow stronger. When you smile without resistance, your facial muscles contract, but there's no real challenge, no load for them to overcome. It's like lifting an empty shopping bag versus lifting a bag full of groceries. Only one of those activities will actually build your arm strength. When you add resistance with your fingertips, you're creating that necessary overload that triggers your muscles to adapt and strengthen. This adaptation occurs through a process called muscle protein synthesis, where your body repairs the micro-tears in muscle fibers created during exercise and builds them back stronger and denser. In the face, this increased muscle density translates directly to better skin support and a more lifted appearance. The fingertip placement on the cheekbones is also strategic. This is where the zygomaticus major and minor muscles are located, which are the primary muscles responsible for elevating your cheeks and creating that youthful apple-cheeked appearance. By targeting these specific muscles with resistance, you're essentially giving yourself a non-surgical cheek lift. The second move is equally powerful, but targets a completely different aspect of skin tightening. And I call this the neck sculptor pulse. Most people completely neglect their neck when they think about anti-aging, but the neck is often the first place where age really shows because the skin there is thinner and has fewer oil glands than facial skin. This move is going to target the platysma muscle. That's the broad muscle that extends from your chest up to your jawline. And when this muscle is toned, it creates a natural lift that tightens not just your neck, but also your lower face and jawline. Here's how you do it. Sit or stand with your spine straight. Tilt your head back so you're looking at the ceiling. And then bring your lower lip up over your upper lip as far as you can, like you're trying to touch your nose with your bottom lip. You should feel an intense stretch and engagement in your neck and under your chin. Now, while holding this position, I want you to make small pulsing movements with your jaw, opening and closing your mouth slightly, about 30 times. These pulses create microcontractions in the platysma muscle, and just like any muscle training, these repeated contractions cause the muscle fibers to strengthen and tighten. What makes this move so effective overnight, and yes, I do mean you can see differences by the next morning, is that it combines muscle engagement with lymphatic drainage. When you tilt your head back and engage these muscles, you're helping to drain the lymph nodes in your neck, reducing fluid retention that causes puffiness and loose-looking skin. Many of my patients tell me they wake up the next morning with a more defined jawline and tighter neck skin. And while the dramatic overnight results are partly due to reduced inflammation and fluid drainage, the long-term results come from consistent muscle building over time. I want to explain more about the platysma muscle because understanding its function will help you appreciate why this exercise is so transformative. The platysma is a thin, sheet-like muscle that starts at your upper chest and runs up the sides of your neck, inserting at your jawline and lower face. Its primary function is to pull down your lower lip and jaw, but when it's toned and strong, it also provides crucial support to prevent the formation of vertical neck bands and jowls. As we age, the platysma naturally weakens and can actually separate in the middle, creating those unattractive vertical cords that run down the neck. You've probably seen these on yourself or others. Plastic surgeons actually cut and tighten this muscle during neck lift procedures, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars. But what most people don't realize is that you can achieve significant tightening of this muscle through targeted exercise, essentially giving yourself a natural neck lift without surgery. The pulsing motion is key because it creates what we call time under tension. Keeping the muscle engaged continuously while adding dynamic movement forces it to work harder and adapt more quickly than static holds alone would achieve. Now, let me address why these two moves are superior to Pilates for skin tightening specifically. Don't get me wrong, Pilates is wonderful for core strength, flexibility, posture, and overall body conditioning, and I recommend it to many of my patients for those purposes. But when it comes to facial and neck skin tightening, Pilates has a fundamental limitation. It doesn't target the specific small muscles of the face and neck that support your skin. Pilates works on large muscle groups and focuses on body alignment and core stability, which is fantastic. But your sagging jowls and loose neck skin aren't going to respond to core exercises or leg lifts. What you need is targeted facial resistance training and lymphatic activation, which is exactly what these two moves provide. Think of it this way. If you wanted to build your biceps, you wouldn't just do leg exercises and hope your arms would somehow get stronger, right? You'd do bicep curls and targeted arm work. The same principle applies to your face and neck. You need to work those specific muscles directly with the right technique and resistance. Furthermore, Pilates, while excellent for many things, actually requires a significant time investment and often expensive equipment or studio memberships. A typical Pilates session runs 45 to 60 minutes, and you need to attend multiple times per week to see any benefits. For many people in their 60s, this becomes a barrier. Maybe you have grandchildren to care for, a part-time job, health issues that make it difficult to travel to a studio, or simply a busy life that doesn't allow for hours of exercise each week. The beauty of these two facial moves is that they require literally 5 to 10 minutes total per day. No equipment, no travel, no expense, and you can do them anywhere. In your bathroom while getting ready in the morning, sitting at your kitchen table, even in your car, before going into the grocery store. The accessibility and simplicity of these exercises means you're far more likely to actually do them consistently. And consistency is the absolute key to seeing results. The science behind overnight results is really quite remarkable when you understand the physiology. When you perform these two moves correctly, several things happen simultaneously in your skin and underlying tissues. First, you're increasing microcirculation. That's the blood flow in the tiny capillaries that feed your skin cells. Better circulation means more oxygen, more nutrients, and more efficient removal of metabolic waste products. Second, you're stimulating the lymphatic system, which is crucial for reducing puffiness and inflammation. Unlike your cardiovascular system, which has your heart to pump blood, your lymphatic system relies on muscle movement to function properly. When you engage your facial and neck muscles with these specific movements, you're essentially giving your lymphatic system a pump, helping it drain excess fluid that accumulates in your tissues and causes that puffy, saggy appearance. Third, you're creating what we call mechanical stress on your fibroblasts. These are the cells that produce collagen and elastin. When fibroblasts experience mechanical stress from muscle contractions, they respond by ramping up collagen production, and while new collagen takes weeks to fully develop, the immediate tightening you feel comes from the muscle engagement itself and the reduction in inflammation and fluid retention. Let me elaborate on the lymphatic system because this is something most people don't fully understand, but it's absolutely crucial to why you see such quick results. Your lymphatic system is essentially your body's drainage and waste removal system. It consists of a network of vessels that run throughout your entire body, collecting excess fluid, toxins, dead cells, and metabolic waste from your tissues and filtering them through lymph nodes before returning the cleaned fluid to your bloodstream. In your face and neck, you have several clusters of lymph nodes, around your ears, under your jaw, and down the sides of your neck. When lymph fluid flows properly through these nodes, your face looks sculpted, defined, and youthful. But when lymph flow becomes sluggish, which commonly happens with age, poor posture, dehydration, or simply not moving your facial muscles enough, fluid accumulates in your tissues, creating puffiness, bloating, and that saggy, heavy appearance. This is why many people wake up with puffy faces that improve throughout the day as gravity and natural movement help drain some of that fluid. The neck sculptor pulse specifically targets the lymph nodes in your neck, and when you tilt your head back and engage those muscles, you're creating a pumping action that literally pushes accumulated lymph fluid through your system. This is why people often see such dramatic improvements overnight. They're finally draining all that stagnant fluid that's been making their face look puffy and loose. Let me share with you some real results from my patients, because I know you're probably skeptical. I would be too if someone told me I could tighten my skin overnight. Margaret, a 64-year-old retired teacher, came to me extremely frustrated because she'd spent thousands of dollars on creams, serums, and spa treatments with minimal results. She was considering a facelift, but wanted to try non-invasive options first. I taught her these exact 2 moves, and I told her to do them twice a day, once in the morning and once before bed, for just 5 minutes each session. That's only 10 minutes total per day. After the very first session, she texted me a photo the next morning saying she couldn't believe how much more defined her jawline looked and how the loose skin under her chin seemed tighter. Now I explained to her that those initial results were largely from fluid drainage and reduced inflammation, but if she continued doing the exercises consistently, she'd see progressive improvement as her muscles strengthened. 6 weeks later, when she came back to my office, I was genuinely impressed. Her jowls had lifted noticeably, the vertical bands in her neck had softened considerably, and her overall facial contour was more youthful. She looked like she'd lost 10 years without any invasive procedures. Another patient, Robert, who's 67, had given up on his appearance after retirement, but his daughter convinced him to try these exercises. He was amazed that something so simple could make such a difference, and after 3 months of consistent practice, his wife said he looked more like he did in his 50s than his late 60s. I also want to tell you about Linda, who came to me at 61 feeling desperate because she had a daughter's wedding coming up in 2 months, and she was mortified by how she looked in photos. Her main concerns were her jowls, which had become quite pronounced, and the loose, crepey skin on her neck that she said made her feel like she had to wear turtlenecks all the time, even in summer. Linda was highly motivated and committed to doing these exercises 3 times per day, instead of the 2 I recommended. Within the first week, she noticed the puffiness in her lower face had diminished significantly. By week 3, her husband commented that her face looked slimmer and more defined. By the time the wedding arrived 8 weeks later, Linda sent me photos, and I honestly had to do a double take. Her transformation was remarkable. Her jawline was clearly defined again, the jowls had lifted substantially, and her neck looked smooth and tight. She told me she felt confident in her photos for the first time in years, and several people at the wedding asked if she'd had work done. The best part was that Linda spent exactly $0 on this transformation. Just 10 to 15 minutes of her time each day performing these 2 simple moves. Now, I want to give you some important tips to maximize your results, because technique is absolutely crucial here. First, consistency is everything. You must do these moves every single day, preferably twice a day. Your facial muscles are small and they respond quickly to training, but they also lose their tone quickly if you stop. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't brush your teeth intensely for a week and then stop for a month, right? Second, you need to really focus on the muscle engagement, not just going through the motions. When you're doing the facial resistance lift, you should feel a strong contraction in your cheeks, almost like a burning sensation if you're doing it correctly. If you don't feel that muscle working hard, you're not applying enough resistance with your fingers. Third, breathing is important. Never hold your breath during these exercises. Breathe normally and steadily because your muscles need oxygen to work effectively. Fourth, hydration is absolutely critical for skin elasticity. I tell all my patients to drink at least 8 glasses of water a day because dehydrated skin will never look as firm as properly hydrated skin, no matter how much you exercise your facial muscles. Fifth, do these exercises on clean skin, preferably after applying a good serum or moisturizer because the manipulation will help those products penetrate deeper into your skin layers. Let me expand on the hydration point because this is something I see people overlook constantly. Your skin is approximately 64% water, and when it's properly hydrated, it's plump, elastic, and resilient. When it's dehydrated, it becomes thin, fragile, and sags more easily. Think of a grape versus a raisin, same fruit, but one is full of moisture and firm, while the other is dried out and wrinkled. Many people in their 60s are chronically dehydrated without even realizing it. As we age, our sense of thirst diminishes, so we don't feel as compelled to drink water. Additionally, some people avoid drinking water because they don't want to wake up multiple times at night to use the bathroom. But here's the thing. Proper hydration is absolutely essential for these exercises to work optimally. When your muscles are well hydrated, they can contract more effectively and recover faster. When your skin is well hydrated, it responds better to the increased circulation and looks plumper and firmer. I recommend drinking a large glass of water first thing in the morning, before each meal, and mid-afternoon. If nighttime bathroom trips are a concern, stop drinking water about 2 to 3 hours before bed. You can also increase your hydration through water-rich foods like cucumbers, watermelon, oranges, tomatoes, and leafy greens. Let me also address some common mistakes people make when they try facial exercises on their own. The biggest mistake is using too much force and creating unnecessary wrinkles. When you're doing the facial resistance lift, your fingers should provide resistance, but you shouldn't be pulling or tugging your skin harshly. The movement should be controlled and smooth, not aggressive. Another mistake is rushing through the repetitions. Quality matters much more than quantity here. 15 slow, controlled repetitions with proper form will give you better results than 30 sloppy, rushed ones. People also tend to neglect the neck sculptor pulse because it feels awkward at first and can be slightly uncomfortable. But that discomfort is actually a sign that you're working muscles you've probably never consciously engaged before. Stick with it through the awkwardness because the neck results are absolutely transformative. Also, many people do these exercises sporadically. They'll do them every day for a week, skip a few days, do them again, and then wonder why they're not seeing results. Your facial muscles need consistent training, just like any other muscles in your body. Another common mistake I see is people doing these exercises with tension in other parts of their face or body. When you're performing the facial resistance lift, the only muscles that should be working hard are your cheek muscles. Your forehead should be relaxed, your jaw should be relaxed, your shoulders should be down and loose. Many people unconsciously raise their eyebrows or clench their jaw during this exercise, which not only wastes energy, but can actually create more wrinkles in those areas. Similarly, during the neck sculptor pulse, people often tense their entire body, hunching their shoulders up around their ears or gripping their hands tightly. This tension interferes with the lymphatic drainage and reduces the effectiveness of the exercise. I always tell my patients to do a quick body scan before starting. Consciously relax your forehead, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and take a deep breath. Then begin the exercises while maintaining that overall relaxation, allowing only the target muscles to engage. The beauty of these two moves is that they address both the upper face and the lower face and neck, giving you a comprehensive tightening effect. The facial resistance lift primarily targets your mid-face, cheeks, and the area around your eyes, lifting everything in that region and reducing the appearance of nasolabial folds, those lines that run from your nose to the corners of your mouth. The neck sculptor pulse targets your lower face, jawline, and entire neck, creating definition and eliminating that dreaded turkey neck appearance that so many people in their 60s struggle with. Together, these two moves create a synergistic effect where your entire face and neck appear lifted, tightened, and more youthful. And here's the best part. Unlike cosmetic procedures that can look artificial or overdone, these exercises create natural-looking results because you're working with your own anatomy, simply enhancing and strengthening what's already there. I want to talk more about the concept of natural enhancement versus artificial intervention, because this is an important distinction. When you get injectable fillers, your face is being plumped up with foreign substances, usually hyaluronic acid or similar compounds. While these can create immediate volume, they don't address the underlying muscle weakness, and they often create an artificial, overfilled appearance, especially if done repeatedly over many years. Botox works by paralyzing muscles, which can smooth wrinkles but also reduces your natural facial expressions and does nothing to strengthen the muscles supporting your skin. Surgical facelifts involve cutting, pulling, and stitching skin and tissue, which creates dramatic but often unnatural-looking results, especially around the ears and hairline, and comes with significant risks, high costs, and lengthy recovery times. In contrast, facial exercises work by strengthening your own muscles using your body's own adaptive mechanisms. The results develop gradually and look completely natural because you're not adding anything foreign or cutting anything away. You're simply training your face the same way you'd train any other part of your body. People who see you regularly will notice you look more refreshed, more vibrant, younger somehow. But they won't be able to pinpoint exactly what's different because the changes are subtle and harmonious with your natural features. So, here's my challenge to you. Starting today, commit to doing these two simple moves twice a day for the next 30 days. That's just 10 minutes total per day. Less time than you probably spend scrolling through social media or watching television. Take a photo of yourself today before you start, and then take another photo 30 days from now. I'm confident you'll see a noticeable difference that will motivate you to continue. Remember, the facial resistance lift and the neck sculptor pulse are your new best friends in the fight against saggy skin. They're free, they're simple, they take hardly any time, and they work. You don't need expensive gym memberships, complicated Pilates equipment, or invasive procedures. You just need consistency, proper technique, and a commitment to yourself. Your face and neck will thank you, and more importantly, you'll feel more confident and empowered, knowing that you're taking control of your appearance naturally and effectively. Thank you for watching, and here's to tighter, more youthful skin at any age.